Right, okay, so we're streaming now. I'm actually going to post this stream, I guess, on Twitter if I can. I don't know if I can get a link to this stream. Ta-da-da. No, doesn't look like I can. Oh, no, yeah. But I can get a link elsewhere, which is I will just go to YouTube. Shows that I'm live. Oops, let's go.
A lot of people exercise because they believe it will help them to lose fat.
Do that again, which is YouTube. And somewhere in there, subscriptions, library, or data, live. No, I don't want live then. YouTube Studio. Right, let's do that then. Click on that Studio. I'm just going to guess I'm going to get the live channel here somewhere. So if I go to content and then live, there we go. I found it. I'm basically in here, and what I'm going to do is options, get shareable link. So this session is going to be it's not even a session, it's just I'm literally just going to code live, and I'm doing something I'm just going to post this on Twitter. So live on YouTube. And Python coding. So I'm just going live on YouTube, Python coding. I'm literally going to paste in this. It's going to, I presume it'll do a YouTube thing. Maybe some people will join. Yesterday, actually, some people joined. Funnily enough, there's about 20 people. If you do join, let me just make sure that I've got this here. I'll make sure that my chat is up in like my view so that I can see it. If you do join, if the font is too small or something, just put a little message in, because I'm going in small font at the moment, just because this isn't like a tutorial now. This is literally just something that I want to get done, and what I've got to do on my little task here is I just want to plot a chart of so I've been storing data. I'm on 1,000 lines of code basically. I've been storing data into an SQLite database. The SQLite database is over here. It just captures a whole bunch of trades. So I've been storing data into this SQLite database, and the reality is have I done any? No, I've been storing this since yesterday. I got this little piece of script running. It's taken me months to get around to doing it. Well, I've done it. Basically, this is the number of transactions here. Well, there we go. So it has done one transaction finally. It's done 18,000 and a bit transactions. There's about 9,000 buys and 9,000 sells, so it's quite evenly split. And what I wanted to do, well, one thing I wanted to do was just get a chart of the number of transactions that have occurred on the portfolio. It does about 700 transactions a month. It might do a couple an hour, sometimes it does none, and then sometimes it does like 20, 30 when the market goes mental. And yeah, I've got this server time here, but then I convert that to a human readable time. So we've got an integer thing and a human readable time here. And I guess I'm going to start by putting it into a matplotlib. Probably is might be the easiest way of doing it. So I wonder if I can get the profile stats as well. Let's have a look. View stats. Let's see stats. I don't know what stats I can view here. Usage, frames per second, skip frames, live, drop frames. It would be nice. I was actually looking at this the status. So I'm casting this out of OBS Studio, and it would be, I can see all of the status, but actually it'd be nice if it was actually on the system. So let me put my phone on mute as well, because it'd be enough. I don't want too many beeps to go on. So I guess I'll hit close on that, because it doesn't really have that much value for the actual stats that are going on. And well, you know what, I might actually keep it open, view stats. I don't know why. It's interesting to see the bit rate and stuff like that. So the one thing I did want to see, so it's a tiny bit annoying, but I might have to do it this way, is viewing live control room. There is a live control room, so I can see myself seeing myself. Set up stream help, yeah, and I can see if anyone's joined basically in a live control room for what that's worth. It's probably not worth that much, but anyway, I'm going to continue, because what I want to do is I want to get the stats out of this database over here. So I've connected to the database this way, but what I'm actually going to do is, because I want to see the chart before I implement it and try and get it working, basically, is it's going to be something like, well, I might even take this. I might actually create a whole function here. So I'm going to go to this is if that's a Jupyter notebook, it's a world, yeah, okay, it's like the world's biggest Jupyter notebook tab here, because that's quite big. 117 lines long, this particular one. Okay, but that's because I built a class in there. Connect, I just want to connect, so that's fine. Retrieve data from the database, so I'm kind of like doing this already. So that one's done, and that's the retrieval of the data. I'm going to make sure this is all live. So what I need to do is just run this. I think that's run. Do I get an error message? Well, I get data, so I'm presuming that's run. Then I want to run this just to make sure if it's all working. Yeah, okay, so I'm able to get data. So now I want to, so let's retrieve data from the database. I'm now going to retrieve more data from the database. So add some code. And this time I want to retrieve data based on this bit here, which is the number of trades. If I do double control, yeah, number of trades over there. So I'm going to try and get that in, which means that I could, in theory, copy all of this above, but I'm going to do it in a function. So, which is this function here, and I'm going to take this over here and go there, and I would need to make sure I've got pandas already, but actually pandas is going to be in there by the time this is run, because I've run this piece before. So I've got this, the database is called Binance Stats, and that's because I'm using Binance for this particular stuff. So it's all the statistics from Binance, and it's a number of trades that go in. So I'm connecting, so I've got this function, database Binance Stats, which is fantastic. Connect, and then a data frame. So I've got a try except there on this one. Maybe I'm not going to use a try and accept. I wonder if I should. There's no reason it should fail. The fact is I don't want it to really pass. I want it to break. So, you know, and if I had an accept, I'd probably put a raise of an error. So I want it to break if it doesn't work. So select style from this, and that might be all. That might be all I need, in fact. So I can just return the data frame, and then do global. Right, why am I doing it in a function and not, you know, just as script? Because basically I'm going to take this function and put it straight back into here in its working format. So, and in fact it's got all of the docstring stuff as well. So I want to publish a chart, plot a simple line chart. So get data from sqlite database, publish read data from SQLite database into pandas frame. Right. Right, just arranging a meeting at the same time. Right, so let's get on with this then. Okay, so we're back. Don't like to be disturbed too much. I might actually even close my little chat bit here because I don't want any chats coming in to disturb. And phone is on mute, and in fact, phone is on the charger out of the way. So there we go. All out of the way, everything's good. So over there, we've got the data frame now, and we just put R for result. We don't even have to put over here. I'm going to make this right. So we're going to actually return. Am I going to return a chart? At the moment, we're returning a data frame. So the question is it going to be a chart returned? Basically, I need to think about that. For now, I'm not going to post any return, but actually what's going to come back out of this is it's going to be a data frame anyway, DF. So let's actually just see our data frame. So there's no arguments in here because I'm not even putting the database in here. We could put a database in here, but I'm not going to. Although I'm thinking about that because can I pass the database in to like call it? The reality is I'm either going to call, I could call it from this function, which is where I've added things to the database, but I'm kind of like compartmentalizing it. But one thing I'm aware of is I'm opening a database and closing it and opening it and closing it. So I have to have a little think about that because one of the advantages of a database is you can always leave it permanently open. So unlike files, which you have to sort of like open and close. So, and they might be able to do something like with a with statement or context manager. For opening and closing, but I don't want to necessarily open and close. Not that it's a big overhead in this particular case. This thing runs once per hour. But the alternative is is to run it from here. In which case I'd need to uniquely go back into the database. Anyway, I'm just going to get the data. Let's just see what happens, just to see if it works. So let's just do df over there and run it. Right, get an error. So what's the error message? BS is not defined. Okay, Binance stats. Okay, so basically one of the things I'd need to do is, and it's probably right at the top, presumably, is up there. No, okay. I'm just going to go right back to wherever I was on that. That was one of the charts I produced, which was I'll call that a success internal code. There we are, back. Okay, scrolled up too much. Import Binance support. It's just a module that I wrote. Import Binance support as BS. BS doesn't stand for the other thing that usually stands for. I don't know if you're allowed to like swear or whatever. I can say bulls, I guess, I don't know, but not the other part of it. Bull is an animal. Yeah, it stands for Binance support in my case. Let's just do that again. And it's working. Okay, fantastic. So got the data frame. Data frame is now pulled from here. This will grow in time. It'll be thousands of lines long. If I go into the other table, like I guess account balance, that is like 800 lines long now, and it's kind of like collecting at 24 lines a day, basically. If we do once per hour, so you got 24 times by say 365. This is going to be, it's going to get 8,000 rows of data per year. You know, I'd be lucky if it goes for 10 years times 10, but you never know. It's been running for 6 months, so 87,500 rows of data, easily handled by a pandas data frame. So that's perfectly fine. Now I want to plot a chart, I guess, of this. So I'm probably going to have to do an import matplotlib.pyplot .pyplot as plot plt. It's pretty standard stuff. I'm going to do an import just because this little section can be standalone. This little section can be standalone on its own. I don't use NumPy in here, so I won't bother. But I guess I just want to plot a standard chart, and we did have a chart that was working down here. So can I steal some code? Code stealing is the way that you do everything. I'm stealing my own code, so it's fine in this particular case. I had two things on here. I might put the buyers and sells on there, so I might still have two things. I'll just do total number, but I want to set it up like this, which is okay. I'm going to need X and Y values, but I'm going to do okay. Okay, yeah, let's just do this. Okay, so this is all live. Nothing's been created. Well, things have been created like this before, but I haven't created this before. I haven't pre-planned it. So it's all just 100% live in terms of coding. So, and if I get the old Twitter up. Creating a chart for making this in real time. Okay, just posting another little thing here, which, so let me, if I can get that link. Don't know if I can actually anymore. Let's have a, if I can get the shareable link again. Share. Okay, I can. Copy. And now just write, put a Python tag, and then also do a hashtag Python programming. I'm just literally putting all this stuff into here just so that I did post it before, but it probably wasn't readable. No one barely reads these things anyway. I know, like, what was it? If you do come on here, you obviously would have come on from Twitter. You might have caught this thing, but probably did post your views on the usefulness of Twitter. But anyway, I want to create a list of X values, and all I have to do there, well, the X values are going to be dates, and it looked like here I took the human time, and I probably will take the human time because it's readable. So in fact, I think I can completely take all of this, right? Because that's just going to be the X values, and the Y values are going to be the slightly different one, but not hugely different, to be fair, because basically, in fact, it looks like I can get this on quite quickly, where I can create Y values, and then there could be 3 charts. It just depends on how the data is displayed, but Y equals, I guess it will be y num trades. This is number of trades. I could have number of buys, number of sells as well, but that's going to be equal to the data frame and then num trades. There we go. And then dots. It looks like I have to put in dot values on that one because I want to get values. I don't want to get some sort of series or something like that. And actually, I will actually put in here number of buys, and here will be number. I wonder if I do this whole thing, will I get a little thing? Number of buys and y underscore number. I don't know if I'm going to use them yet. Cells equals data frame and then number of cells. There we go. The IntelliSense is really helpful. Dot values. Let's close that one. Right, so we've got our x values, we've got our y values, and we've got options for extra y values in here as well. So that's quite good so far. And now let's do plot the data. So I don't need to normalize anything. In this previous one I did a normalization, but that's because, you know, whatever was starting from a non-100 point. It was starting like, you know, 70,000 or some arbitrary number. So I wanted to normalize it to 100. I don't have to do any normalization here because I'm just counting the number of trades. Therefore, I wanted to count a percentage increase. I'll do that normalization process again. So I think that I can probably take most of this, right, and paste it here. I could also go into, well, you know, one of my best friends now, which is, you know, Claude. I was going to keep wanting to say like Google Bard because I've been using that quite a lot. I'm beginning to go off of Claude, by the way. But yeah, whatever. Because sometimes it doesn't give the greatest of answers, which was a tad annoying. So okay, fine on that. But actually, one thing I did have, because I came across it, is Bing Chat. I'm going to have a little test of Bing Chat, basically. Although, like, I'm a bit concerned about this. It says 4 of 30, as in maybe you could only have 30 convos with it, like 30, like forwards and backwards. But one thing that Bing Chat does is it actually lets you. It's got like autocomplete. Look, hello, there we go. Hello, Bing. Like, how are you feeling today? Bing, AI, chat, bot, chat that. Okay. Anyway. It's quite nice because it does that autocomplete, which none of the other ones do. So yeah, there's 4 different chatbots, but this isn't a chatbot video. Anyway, let's get on with this. We need to plot our X data and we need to plot our Y data, but here we've got the number of trades basically. So that's going to be Y number of trades. I'll keep the same markers and colors, and I will comment this one out. And also the label will be, I guess it will just be num. I'll keep the underscore in there. And that kind of like should be it. Okay. This is where I might actually have to start surfing matplotlib because there's different types of charts that are going to be there. But anyway, set the title, which is the number of trades as well. And okay, I haven't got much data and all my data's flat. It's going to be boring to start with at least. So every 12 hours, I haven't even got 12 hours of stuff. So that's kind of like where the comments need to be. Set X ticks for every I'm going to have to do it for every 1 hour because I've got no data basically because it's quite new. I could get all the other data, which I have thought about. I thought about doing that this morning because I've got, well, 18,000 things. It's grown from 0 to 18,000. So that would have been quite nice to sort of like have the little plot of how it grew. Like there's parts where it's quicker and there's parts where it's not quicker. And that's contingent on market activity more than anything else. And if I don't know, if I do an error with my trading or something, maybe I'll trade loads of times. So set X label there, right? So we've done a rotation. Okay, set our Y label. Once you've done it the first time, it's relatively easy. So what will the Y label be? So actually be number of trades. Right, and it's actually a number. So we've got that. That's my standard junk call. In the UK, we get junk stuff. Good, so that's been picked up or died. Right, and then legend. Okay, and then save the figure. Okay, I won't do the save figure yet. We don't really need a legend yet, but we might use a legend because if we bring in this other stuff, the buys and the sells, then you're kind of like you'd get one that's higher than the other ones, and then you want the other two. But it wouldn't work for a line plot anymore. So I'm actually going to sift through matplotlib. Is one of the tasks I'm going to have to do to get this done. But anyway, I can do at the end a plot dot show like that. So now we're not going to see the data frame anymore, but we should see some data if it works. Yay, it does work. I thought the rotation would have been there because it said rotate equals 45. The rotation didn't work. Let's have a look down here. The rotation does work here. That's interesting because I've literally just copied and pasted the code. Spacing equals D. Can't remember what that is. Daily maybe. Let's just do this then. Well, not F5, didn't we? Press F5 because I don't want to run anything. Hit stop. There we go. Go down here and click clear. I'm not running anything because this is in the Jupyter notebook. I've got to do a control return just to rerun it. I'm just wondering if I can get the rotation in. No, that didn't rotate it. But fine, I'll live with that for now. And that, like, hold a number of trades, right? Why does it show 4.4? Okay, I see. Right. So one of the things that happened because it's 18,000 is it's done it like this. So I probably want the actual number because 4.4 doesn't mean anything. So this is going to be a session in mucking around with matplotlib by the looks of it, because guess what? I wonder what happened on here. Right, okay, it's indexed at 100, so there was no real issue with that. The Y scale here, I actually want it to be like kind of like proper numbers, but actually I can't really start it from 0. It's like these units. Are these units in like increments of? This is the weirdest incrementation I've ever seen. At least being like thousands or 10,000s. It looks like it's in units of like 1.8 thousand. So that is that 4? No, because that's 18,000 at the top. What does this 5 represent? What does 4 represent? That's a weird one. Right, okay, let's have a little check. Set Y label to be number of trades. I wonder if I just get rid of this for a second and see. No, fine, that didn't do anything in particular. That is literally just a commentary on the side. So it's the number of trades. The X points are the dates, so we've got that one, that's fine. And the Y points are number of trades. I wonder if I do df at the end just to make sure. We get the data frame afterwards now. Yeah, it's 18,000. I'm just wondering where the number 4 even comes from. Like what that 4.2. You know, if I kind of like do this, because that's actually what's being fed into matplotlib. Right. Yeah, it's this array here. So I'm struggling to see why I'm getting these numbers. I can see what this number is here, this 18.364, which is, you know, these numbers here, this 18.3, which is the total number of trades. But what does this axis represent? Like, why has it done that? Label equals number of trades. Okay. Again, that won't do anything. But I'm just going to. So this is RDF. I'll have that in the end anyway. Right, because that didn't really do much, so I'll do a Control Z on. Right, just put that one back. Fit one in with a trade. So I'm having a little think about what I want to get done here now, like the plan of action. Got a title, dates, the rotation didn't work. Nothing works basically, pretty much. I wonder if I can put in a half hour, just out of interest. Or does that break everything? Yeah, that broke everything. It needs integers. No. One is this small, so every hour basically. If I wanted to split it into any more, I'd need to be doing minute using also per second. So got that over there, and you know what I'm going to do is I will take all of this here, and because that will be my number of buys. I wonder if I could just stick that straight into here because I didn't change much, so maybe that will be better. So basically this will be number of buys, and then I could put in to label is number of buys. Just run that. Right, okay, well the numbers have got a bit better. It must be, oh maybe it's because I wonder if because it was like 2 items on there, I was expecting more than one thing. But I am going to take this because we've also got a number of cells. Paste that over there, and this will be cells. And then this one here will be cells. There we go. I like the intelligence to complete. We've got orange, so let's just do 4 cells. We'll do green. Just have a different colour. Green, there we go. Oh, the face colour was green, so pink. Pink, probably a valid colour. No idea. Let's just run that. Right, so we've got those two. Now might need to remove the number of trades, or at least I want it on a different axis. So because here everything got plotted on one axis. I would massively want yellow. Just to differentiate the colouring. Okay, so there will be different colouring, which is basically, if I was to remove this, it would all look nice again. Right? So still doesn't look amazingly nice because, look, okay, fine, it's because I haven't got much data, so I've got to be aware of that. But really what I might want to have is something like a bar chart of number of buys and number of sells, because that's kind of like the total number of trades, and sort of like do that over time, which I think I had in the Bitcoin Moses thing. I wonder if I had it. That's the algo returns. But if I go to the home page, well, I had it like that in a matplotlib, where kind of like there was buys and sells, and trying to recreate that in a way. But I think it'd be nice to have a stacked bar chart in matplotlib or something like, or in any graphing package. So something like where the stacking is the number of buys and number of sells, not even side by side. Although the side by side is quite nice. I could try and just replicate that maybe. But then it'll just be two bars. That's all it would be now, because I'm just looking at the total. I'm not breaking it down per item. I'm literally just looking at the total. So, and the one thing about it is if you trade like one thing like tons, then it starts dwarfing the other one, so they go out of context, and so you've got to be careful about that as well. Let's just go to matplotlib and see what's available then. So, matplotlib, so like matplotlib. Examples, right? There we go, examples gallery. Okay. That looks like it goes to the gallery. Quick start, chart types, which is the bit that I really want. I'm wondering if this, like, the question is what do you actually want to display? What's this one? Animation. Well, that would be quite nice. It'd be quite costly, and like, okay, everything gets plugged into a Google site, so the Google site isn't like the most adaptive of sites. If I was doing it if I was pushing it into something like, I don't know, a Django or Flask app, I think I'd be able to do this animation thing and have it be a lot nicer. But I'm going to stick with the boring one. But I want it to be something like, I guess, a bar chart over time, possibly not a line chart. So it's got connected scatter, area chart, line chart, stacked area. That's quite interesting. Stacked area, because the most basic stacked chart, the most basic stacked area chart can make, okay. Now this might be good because I might not need, in the data, I might actually not need the total, because basically, let's get rid of that one. I pulled up the wrong one. That one here. I wouldn't need this piece of data here, because basically I'm assuming they will stack these two and give me the sum, like the total, like how they're made. So that might be one nice way of doing it. So here is a quick start. Okay, let's have a look. We need numpy. Well, okay, in this example, why do they need numpy in this example? I'm not calling anything numpy like, funnily enough. If I go there, I'm just going to take the code. The issue with stacking, stacked area charts must be used with care since they suffer a number of caveats. They are appropriate to study the evolution of the whole and the relative portions of each group, but not to study the evolution of each individual group. Okay. How the green group evolves on the chart below. Can you spot if its value is increasing, decreasing, or stable? Yeah, I kind of like get that. Baseline parameter charts, that chart. From the web, there's some great examples here. But I think I'm still going to go with this one to begin with. And what I'm going to do is, because they've given us an example, I'll go in here and I will paste the code in here. Like NumPy is not used. But this should produce that chart, which it does, which is quite good then. Because I could, in theory, do a stack plot and just see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen with this stack plot. But let's just take the stack plot. What am I looking at is to check that they've got the same number of data points, but that's fine. The y1s and y2s for me, my equivalent y1s and y2s will have the same number of data points as well. So that should be fine. And my the x range here, so everything's got to, like, okay, because matplotlib needs to work that way anyway. I'm taking it all out of data frame, so I've got the same number of rows and everything. I won't have any of those issues. So I just go to the stack plot then in that case, and have another bash at it. So maybe I comment these ones out for now. Right. Go in here, paste that one in here. But now the x is still x, that's fine. And this one here, we'll just do y number of buys over here. And y underscore number of cells, there we go. And not even put this one here. And then just do number of cells. I'm going to put the underscore just because I don't know why. Number of buys. Right, and I guess I don't know even what happens when I run it. Let's have a look. Okay, well that's kind of like better. At the moment it looks rubbish because there's only two things, or sorry, the data hasn't changed yet. But I think this would actually be quite good. So, because I don't need to have multiple lines like all of these plots, I don't think these plots work. So what would happen here is, I'm guessing that if I did have an extra piece of data here, so I'd have to manufacture that because my data looks like this. Let's make a row 13. I don't know if I can do such a thing. What's the easiest way of doing that? I just want to like add one row of data, but because basically I want to see if it increases, if the total so like keeps going up. So I get what I would want to get on this is something that is like, so imagine that's kind of like the chart is, I just want to make sure that I get this, which is sort of like the number of buys, whatever that is. It never goes down. Sorry. Undo. That can't go down. It will always go upwards. It will trend in an upwards direction. It sometimes go up quicker and up less. Never go down. But that's sort of like the number of buys. And then that is the number of cells, kind of like to add on top of it, nearly. So something like number of cells and that the total, the sum of them, these two bits here, they keep going up, so they're not just, so it's not normalized to a number. I think that's what this is inferring that it will be. So that should be fine then in that case. Which means that I could literally take this whole function, all of this stuff here. So I've called it here. I've read in the database. But now basically I can put all of this in here because I think it will work. I'm actually going to remove this. Stack plot is better. Right. But this is like real coding in the sense that like it's great when you watch the actual like YouTube. I watch tons of these YouTube videos and even make them as well. Although the ones that I make, I try to make sure that, well, I don't pre-plan them, but many people do, and they give you that 1 minute snippet of like this is how you do something, which is fantastic. But it's not how it works in real life because you have to figure out what you want. Like I had to think for, I don't know, like, and this isn't even the best yet, and you can see that here, like the rotation of the thing is not the right way, even though I attempted to amend it to 90. We'll go back to 45. You know, is it a case of changing the spacing? I can't remember. You know, I can go into here and do what does this do? Question mark. We never had this even 5 years ago, right? Right, let's have a look. I'm just wondering what the spacing does. It doesn't. I'd have to go into matplotlib and do all of that, which I will do invariably because otherwise the chart won't look nice. Okay, sets D to dense, spacing equals dense, means that the tick labels are displayed at every element of the X array. Because I'm not like going into documentation, what are the other options for spacing for question mark? There we go. Use the backticks to get this like red color on it. All of these chat, all these large language models, they've all got their variants of like what you can and can't do. The original one's ChatGPT, but I find that other ones are a little bit quicker. Okay. The funny thing is it doesn't help because like I picked dense, but tries to find the optimal one. There we go. Auto. Well, it hasn't really done anything. I want to do the rotation. The rotation didn't do anything. It really is the rotation and not the does not. Why? The rotation does not appear to work. Why? There we go. Because nothing to do with the density in my particular case. This like the reason why. Okay, here we go. There are a few reasons why I've fallen foul of one of these somehow. There are a few reasons why directly setting the rotation in the X set ticks may not work, which is what I've done. Is it? Yeah. Okay. One, the rotation needs to be set after the set tick labels. Well, it is. Because it's here. Hold on. Does that mean it has to be after? Like, as in that? Let's try that one. No, that didn't make a difference. So, okay. Auto scaling or limits override the rotation, but I've got no auto scaling or limits there. You can. I've got no limits. Have I got no? I've got no X limit. I haven't got an X set X lim. I haven't got a set Y lim. A set auto scale on. The tick labels. Okay, so the last option. You know, I'm actually going to try and put this in, just because. Does that help? No, doesn't accept that even. So. And actually, oh no, hold on. Require one argument labels. Okay. Missing one positional argument labels. Okay, so I need to put in the labels, and the labels would be, I presume, all of the X values. If I did have that, I'll put it back in. Right. She said I need labels. X, comma. There we go. Right. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Oh, there you go. Well, it's done something. Well, it's got all of the, okay, fine. I'd have to reformat it. So this rotation worked with the labels, funnily enough. I honestly, like, sometimes, you know, with matplotlib, don't get some of the things. Sometimes it's really intuitive and sometimes it's not. The rotation here didn't work, as if, like, I literally, I don't know why. But I might want to also, I'm actually going to remove this rotation then from here. It's just annoying that it has to be done like this. Let's have a little hover over shit. It doesn't even say. It's quite annoying for these things, but you know, you have to go to the matplotlib and then do set x tick labels. You know, you have to go to documentation. So let's go there. This is where I went last time to go and fix it or whatever, somewhere to be going somewhere, and it tells you what to do. Access to exit labels. So labels is a sequence of string or text. The number of labels must match the number of locations. That's fine. And then you've got some keyword args. Yeah, again, it's like, I'm not over the moon about the documentation on it, because it's kind of like just keyword args, text properties, font dictionary. So I don't want any of that. We literally want to get a rotation in there. So, you know, I leave this one open, but you know, maybe some of the ways that I do it sometimes is I go nick stuff from elsewhere. But one thing that I know that I need to do here is, if I am going to use this, is basically I need to make another column that doesn't actually have the time, or at least the time format has come out as T like that, 00051 and what have you, which is a little bit annoying. So it's got the dates, it's got the time, and I'm hoping that they're actually, one thing that I could do straight away is this dates is not do dates, but actually I'm just going to overwrite it to say that x equals df, and I'm going to go to my data frame and do server time there. That's what it is, because that's just an integer. I live with that one. We'll display dates for now, and then I guess dot values. Right now I'm just going to get integers and I don't have to worry about any of that nonsense. You know, there we go. Why are they all going on there? As if they're all the same integer. They're not. Let's just run that. Yeah, that wasn't much better. Okay. That one goes to date time. I wonder. Anyway, let's. You know what? I'll do the original. I just wonder out of interest. I can probably remove all of this X ticks now. Oh, is that because I've got the X ticks here every 1 hour? Maybe. Let's have a look. We'll switch off this X tick every 1 hour. So let it do on its own. That's possibly better. I wonder now if I can comment this one out, put this one back in and run it. Yeah, it still hasn't got the rotation. It just doesn't get the rotation that way. So, you know, in order to get the rotation, this one works, this one doesn't. I wonder actually if on the xtick labels I can do, it doesn't come up as being automatically acceptable equals auto. Okay, it throws an error message, doesn't want to take that. Okay. Run that again. Okay, so, okay, I'm just kind of like semi-guessing and mucking around here, which is like not additive in any way. I'm going to have to wait for the data to populate itself, so I'm going to have to be patient on that anyway. It will take a few days for this to fill out, like even if I must the number of trades, hit refresh, you know, oh, like I'm at 13 data points, it's not enough. And the data hasn't really changed, so I need the market to, like, for number of buys, number of sells to go up. But I'll stick with this template for now, and I'll get it in there, and I'll get the chart onto the site. That's what I will do, because at least I'm going to leave these ones commented out in but there. So everything here, X, is basically going to be here like that. But the final piece of it is I'm not going to have a plot.show. Now the thing about this is well, okay, if I do that, well, I'll probably have to take this plot.show. Right, I'll probably have to put it here for now, but actually we're not going to can return a data frame, print data frame. Now it's going to do a plot.show. This is all going to be exactly the same. So that's fine. I've got to sort out this formatting down the bottom. In the data frame, I'm going to need to create another column, basically. So in this data frame, I'm going to have to make a labels column, basically. That doesn't look ugly. So I want to basically convert datetime to a string. I think that might be just strf time then in that case. In a pandas data frame column, you know, it's not going to be quite that because I'm going to make a new column from another one. But I'm just going to, it's going to do the strf time thing, and I'm going to copy it out. In fact, I might have to copy it out somewhere else. All I'm going to do is basically, yeah, here we go, is I'm going to have to make a new column. This is the annoying bit, is while it like thinks it's being clever, so like typing extra pieces, it's a tad annoying. But I can take this whole line because I'm going to have to modify it a bit. But basically, this human time is the thing that I've got to append, because that human time was close to being helpful, but not totally. Time. I'll just call it that. That's fine. Which is a human. Just make sure that human time. But I do want the hours, minutes, seconds. So I'm going to just put on here because want dd colon or dash. That's fine. Month dash. Well, actually, sorry, I want year dash month because it's the most unambiguous. Day space hour mm format. There we go. Just to make sure that I get that all right. I think it's just percentage h. I think it's just going to be percent h colon percent. I don't know what the minutes will be. Let's have a little see what's been done. Yeah, the big H is for, okay, big H, big M, big S. Okay, fine. Big H, because the other little m is month. Big M, and colon percent S. So it's going to look like that now. And then for the labels, it's actually going to be df time, right? I've just reappended, changed them from this date time format, which actually looked quite nice, but it came out to be this whole thing into a string. So I'm just hoping that might work. Just off, no, it didn't. Values. No, that didn't work either. So unfortunately, well, where did it actually fail? Okay, I'll go back to labels equals x and run it and just see if that, okay, so it fails here actually. This doesn't work. Okay, because I can't just stick the DT at the end of it, I presume. So no, okay. No, you can stick it according to this down the end. Well, it says you can, but we obviously can't. If I did df equals 1 and then commented everything else out, that would presumably work, right? I just get this new data frame here with the time of 1, so that works. And if I set it to the human time, which is a bit illogical, but because it wouldn't do anything, that would work. That works. It's just got the same thing replicated. So dot. I just wonder if I can just go. No. I can't do that. So dot dt. Dot str. Yeah, I mean it's allowing it. Right, maybe the one thing is you know, I don't know. I can't do the hours, minutes, seconds. I'm doing again, like no idea why this doesn't work straight off the bat. Let's have a look. Fails even there. Let's read the time to read the error message. Can only use the .dt accessor with the date time like values. Okay, so what are these not? So these are not date time like values. That's a bit of an interesting one. Right. Print type of df type df human time somewhere before the running of all of this now. That's a pandas core data series, so that's fine. And then we want like the first element of it, the type of that. So okay, this is a string, that's why. Okay, this has come in as a string. So why has it converted the string here to date times? Because that's actually what I wanted, this human time to be a string. And I just want to print the human time, but the human time printed comes out like this. So it's almost like matplotlib is too good, and it's taken this human time, which is exactly what I wanted to print, and converted it into a date time, like a numeric date time. Okay, so this didn't help. We now confirm that this is a string, so that did no extra piece of work. Okay, so the only thing that I can do now is I can format this, is what I've got to do. So I've got to format x-axis on matplotlib chart so that date is expressed as year dash month dash day hour minutes seconds, right? I shouldn't put label. I should put labels and not date here. There you go. shall try to do this. Right, end dates. Well, that's something that. What's that end dates there from? Okay, end dates. That's a bit annoying if I have to do that. I don't want an extra thing in matplotlib there. But let's put it in anyway for the sake of it. Okay, that's done it. There we go. Works. Really annoying to have to do it like that, but that's how to get it to work. And the rotation. I wonder if I make the rotation 90. Be vertical, kind of. Well, it didn't rotate it 90 anyway. The only rotations that I've got now, maybe it doesn't permit it, 30. Doesn't seem to do anything on the rotation. Close that one and hash this out. It's got a mind of its own, and it doesn't even seem to care about the any of the rotation comments. I'm going to leave it in there, but there's no. It looks like there's no use for it. So I probably haven't used matplotlib completely right. I'm going to have to go and have a full read of it, but nevertheless, it's got to the point where. Why does that other chart keep showing up? Oh, that's this one here, teasing me. Plot the legend. Do we care where the legend's plotted? It's going in the top right corner. I just kind of let it default to what it is. Actually, I should probably move it to the top left corner, and the reason why is because the top right corner is the last bit and it'll be over the top of the most important part. So this bit here is kind of like the culmination of all of the data. So let's put the legend on the other side. That's fine. We could even have it outside. So I think that's good enough now. Got the data frame as well, but that's kind of like it. So I can migrate this into the code that I have, and yeah, kind of like see if that works. Let's have a look at what else I've got down there, because this one, I know that was white and then it ended up being dark mode. Okay, fine. There's some global settings, so this one I've done and it's got a white background, but if I go back to this piece over here and over here, algorithm, somewhere that's on a dark background, and that's kind of like a setting that I sort of like chosen this way when you save a file, but it's actually one of the Seaborn settings, so that's cool. So this basically works. It's done. If I did put this in here, I would then. So I don't actually want the total number of trades anymore. I kind of like leave it there, but it's grayed out now. In fact, I won't create the unnecessary variable. We don't use it because we only care about number of bars, number of cells, because the sum of them gives us that third data point anyway. And that's going to pretty much be it. So I'm going to need this for now in my code. I wonder if no, because it's a separate module, right? It's a dates module in matplotlib. I didn't use that in the previous chart. I just didn't need to, and it's got the same sort of dating stuff here. That was the odd bit about it. set label dates, it was being the same formatting and everything. If I do a df over on this one, okay, that doesn't work now because probably one. I've overwritten all my previous stuff. That's why. That's why it's better to keep it in like modules and things. Because this data frame here is the actual data frame. I've like overwritten it. Well, maybe I can go back. Yeah, I can take all of that. And then this one, really, this entire module actually belongs below. I'll get rid of this standard thing because we don't need that. That's just a copy and paste. But this module here belongs above that module. I call it a module section, whatever you want to call it. So that belongs there, doesn't it, really? Because now this will run, I think. Taking its time, that failed again. Why it failed now? Finance stats. Collection, stats. That is the account balance and run it. Okay. Oh, the save. Well, hold on, I don't do a save fig, do I? Plot.show. There we go. Okay, I've just removed the save fig now. Yeah, so this all works completely fine. And this works with a save figure, USD value. Okay, I'm just wondering why the save figure didn't work. Is it the relative location of this? Because I do want it to. I do want to save the figure. Okay. Anyway, I might end the video here. And yeah, that's basically end stream.